Thank you so much for yesterday's conversation. We have a lot of people who still would like to add their voice. Would also love to explore more about how, as youth leaders, that they can connect with the older politicians and faith leaders, so that their voices are truly heard. And with your permission, I'd love to just open it up and get some voices into the mix and start with Miriam.
Good morning, His Holiness. My name is Mariam Kosha, and I'm from Afghanistan, a country which surviving decades of war and has had lost so many people of it. The major problem in my country is that there is not mutual acceptance among the communities. There are several tribals, there are several ethnics, and there is no acceptance among them. And of course, there are some people who are like playing their role to keep it up, and keep it up, as you mentioned yesterday. I, as a youth leader, and few of my colleagues who are like committed to build the country and committed to bring peace to the country, we are somehow trying to promote dialogues among different tribals and youth from different tribals and ethnics. We provide them one facility to come and exist together so that they can exchange their cultures, they can understand each other, and they can see that do not follow the jihadist leaders blindly. Somehow there are the problems, or the community elders, they are making, especially the jihadis are making problems. And on the other hand, there is the government is not so cooperative with the youth to involve them into the peace building process. So I just wanted to know about your personal experiences about how, for example, we as youth leaders can get involved with the government and with the community elders so that we can have our own space also and we can promote the peace dialogues. Thank you so much.
It seems to me, sometimes the government mainly involve politicians or political parties. Sometimes they take more serious concern about their own sort of party, like that. So sometimes I think humanitarian works or these, I think for peace, these things, I think the people's level, not depend on government, not relying on government. So I think there is there a possibility to create some NGO?
There are several NGOs working in the sector, but again, since the corruption is very high, the level of corruption is very high in Afghanistan, and they are almost at the top ranking. So everything is business nowadays there. That's why, though there are civil society activists that trying to do something, try to service the community people, but still corruption is very in high ranking.
His Holiness is wondering if the Afghan government allows to set up NGOs.
There are NGOs, yes.
Then more as the people's level, NGO, and then more publicity. I think there must be some, freedom of, media. And then, these politicians or corrupted people, also they take more serious concern about their own name. So more sort of criticism, more publication. Like China, totally sort of censorship, then very difficult. But other country is more freedom. free because of press. Oh, then I think you should make effort, more publication. And also it's a foreign media like BBC or CNN like this. And also Al Jazeera. Oh, this I think useful. Those corrupted people, let them feel shy. Otherwise, we cannot do anything. Isn't it? I love American the media. They really, it's important to criticize, to show a negative side. That's very good. But the Indian newspaper also, you say, loves to show negative side, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think most of the medias, you see, I think lacking. I have some criticism. It is very important make clear all these wrong things. At the same time, should show the method how to stop more positive side. Then you see people get seeing wrong things, dislike. At the same time, give some sort of ideas, how to reduce this. Otherwise, it's always hear something negative. Then sometimes people get the impression, humanity itself bad. So no hope about future. That I usually say telling the media people, the promotion of human value, promotion of religious harmony, media also have great sort of responsibility. And when makes the presentation more balanced way. So you try.
Thank you. Silvio's also had a lot of experience in dealing with these issues in his home country. Silvio.
Good morning, His Holiness. My name is Silvio William, and I come from a country called South Sudan. It is
South Sudan.
Yes, South Sudan. South Sudan is the newest country in the world. We just gained our independence in 2011. I just want to share with you my brief story as I work in my country, South Sudan. In 2013, violence or civil war broke out in my country, South Sudan, and hundreds of people lost their lives. They were killed in the war. And so for me, I was in a town which was captured by rebels.
Captured.
Was attacked by rebels. And after they attacked the town, people started fleeing, leaving the town, running for safety. As for me, I ran to the church for my safety. And I joined other 3,000 people. A majority of them were women and children. And so when rebels came to the town, they started just burning the town. And the only place where there were people is the church where I was hiding. And so they came to the church. And when they came to the church, they wanted to kill all of us in the church. And this is where I found myself in a negotiation position. And so me and the other priest who was there in the church, we talked to the rebel commander that these are children and women. They are not posting any threat or they are not risk to you. Why would you want to kill them since they are just harmless? And so finally, we told them also, some of them are your relatives. Why do you want to kill them? Because you are related to them. Finally, they said it's okay, we are not going to kill you, but if we come back again and we find you here, maybe something bad is going to happen and you will be responsible. We said, okay, there's no problem.
Oh, wonderful.
After
Oh. One single person has such courage.
then
If I'm his position, I think I may run away.
Then to continue, then after 2 days, we ran out of food. We did not have food or water to drink because the number of people was large and it is difficult to feed 3,000 people. And so the only place where there was food in the town is the barrack where the rebels are.
Oh, Barak.
So the barrack is a World Food Program store where they put their food. And so we had to sacrifice some people to go to the barracks to bring food for children. And so I said, okay, I'm ready to go. Who would like to accompany me? All people said, you are crazy. Why would you like to go to rebels? Maybe they will kill you. I said, I will take the risk. And I went to the rebels' barrack, and I was lucky. Nothing happened to me. But I talked again to the commander that children are starving. If you don't allow us to take some food, then in coming hours, many children would die. And so it was like, okay, no problem. I mean, you managed to come here. You can take food for the people, and eventually you can ask more people to come and take food from the barrack. But I have seen bad things in the barrack. I have seen hostages, and I have seen women being raped. And I mean, it was really an indescribable scene I have seen in my life, and I was traumatized completely. But as I looked to the eyes of those people, there was nothing I could do to save them because it was completely out of my control. And I went back to the church and I asked other guys to come and take more additional food to the IDPs. And finally, I decided to take them to the United Nations camp for the protection. So we had to walk with them at night so that no one see us. And finally, we managed to reach United Nations camp for the protection. And this is how I managed to save those people. Then I decided to leave the town to go to the capital, and we mobilized religious leaders, respected religious leaders like you, to help stop the war in my country. And so they went, those religious people, they went to the place where there was a negotiation, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, and they sat down with rebels leaders. The president of my country, he was fighting the vice president, and they asked those people to stop the war. And eventually, by the help of the international community, United Nations, the peace agreement was signed in my country last year. This is after 2 years of violence, and the new government now is in place. And now we are enjoying peace and stability after 2 years of violence. My question to His Holiness is that in my country, majority of people trust religious leaders like you more than politicians, because they believe politicians are liars and they are creating problems for them. And so how can we utilize or use this good friendship or trust between people and religious leaders like you into to bring peace between the tribes in my country? And thank you very much.
Really wonderful. Admire. Wonderful. So it is true. Naturally, I think people generally, I think more trust to religious people or religious leader. I think South America, which country, I can't remember. Sometimes you see some local church leader more active for social problem. So some people, you see, a little bit sort of critical view. On one occasion, you see, that's many years ago, you see, one occasion, the religious people, the very purpose of their practice of religion is helping other, serving other. So you see, whether political matter or some other sort of issues, I think religious people, I think should engage with, should involve, do something. So I think it is right. Then, sometimes, unfortunately, religious people themselves here talks religion, faith. Here, money, power. So corrupted religious people also there. You see, we have to add religious people, you see, use religion for their own, or say the kasa, interest, like that. So I think basically, you see, your view is very right. So again, as I mentioned yesterday, I think the more sort of what's the more coordination, religious people. I think eventually, I just discussed with the leader of Kasadimiti. So you see, we should be more active. The religious leader talks concern about well-being of the people of the country. So eventually, I think India already, I think at least over 2,000 years, beside homegrown different religious tradition, as I mentioned yesterday, they from outside also you see settle here. Basically, very harmony.
Very true.
So India is example of rest of the world. So India should be more active. So I think hopefully, you see, when we carry some sort of active sort of more active regarding sort of the promotion of religious harmony, and along that, you see, peace automatically come. So once you see we hopefully, you see, when we here in India, you see, create some kind of organization or a group of people who actively sort of involve that, then you see some delegation from here go to this area, and the sincere religious leader, you see, give them encouragement or supports. I think now time come. I think, and particularly, a lot of killing in the name of religion. Then I think religious leader now, so the not right time to remain in their own temple and carry some sort of prayer. Now should be active in the well-being of the society, isn't it?
Yes.
Your Holiness,
So that's my view.
You mentioned about the India, so I'll add to that. You'll be very happy to know that the political party which is now ruling the country, that is the BJP, in its party manifesto of 2014 when it won the election, it had written that if elected to power, it will create a mechanism at the central. It will create a mechanism at the central government level where people of all faiths will be invited together, sit together, and put their heads together, and that will be a continuous process. So, Your Holiness may consider reminding the Government of India that your promise of the manifesto, this one, is yet to be implemented. If you would go ahead with that, that will be a great contribution to world peace also.
We have one of our youth.
I will say, well, sometimes you see, the longest guest of Indian government.
So that's all the more.
So the political matter.
You are not
not
a guest now.
Neutral, huh?
You are no longer a guest now. You are a host.
But
we have
host. Oh. That I don't know. Of course, I consider myself as a son of India.
Oh, good. That's nice.
Oh, that's true. You see, a few years ago, you see some media, mainly overseas Chinese, you see, come, and one sort of correspondent asked me, why you describe yourself as a son of India? I think he thought, maybe political reason. Then I told, because they love me. Oh. You see, every sort of a piece of my brain is filled by Nalanda thought. Ancient Indian, University. I think the real university, not only Buddhist scholar, but I think existing all sort of Indian thought or philosopher, I think philosophy study in that institution. So as a matter of fact, you see these painting, you know, the 17 great sort of scholars. I usually describe, you see, these are professors of Nalanda institution. So we are a student of sort of these sort of scholars. I mean, these scholars' sort of idea or their text. You see, we really, I think, firstly, learn by the root text, learn by memorize. Like I think some people use the Quran memorize, isn't it like that? So the root text memorize, and the page, I think sometimes a few hundred, sometimes 1,000, like that. Then the commentary wrote by these masters is a word by word explained by teacher. Then use logical approach, debate, seriously. So then understanding really go very, very deep. So for that, you see, at the beginning, you should be skeptical. So unbiased. You see, believe, accept. Then there is no sort of basis to further sort of analyze. Or critical analyze, like that. So therefore, my brain is filled by these Nalanda masters' thought, their idea. Then this physical, over 50 years, then a few years ago, so I mentioned over 50 years, this physical survived by Indian dals, Indian chapati, Indian rice. So therefore, I consider I'm son of India.
Good.
That reporter, I think, seems to say no further sort of argument like that. So that is true.
One of our youth leaders is also from India.
Hi, Your Holiness. My name is Samuel. I'm from Manipur.
Manipur, oh yes, East India.
Yeah. So I'm very happy to be here, and first of all, I would like to thank you, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Foundation for Universal Responsibility of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, the one based in Delhi. They have supported us to start a peace education program in Manipur. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank you personally. And second thing is I've been working in conflict areas for the past 6 years. We work in Kashmir and we work in Manipur. And also we work a bit in Delhi. And we have started implementing some of the curriculum that the FUR has developed on compassion curriculum that developed in Manipur and Kashmir also. So this is what I would like to share also. I have a personal question, something that I am dealing with, and I would like to share that one with you. For the past 6 years, I've been working in conflict areas. I've been dealing with different kinds of people. I've dealt with youth, teachers, and children. So some of them are killers, some of them are rapists, some of them are assassins also. Some of them are suicide tendency people who try to commit suicide, and also in between different other people, many of them, yeah. So I've been downloading lots of things in my head for them, and I've been trying to stay calm,
right,
and also being responsible, being the one who is responsible, just being very careful about not making any mistake. And I'm tired and exhausted, emotionally, physically, right, spiritually, mentally. Then I go and try to look back on where was my motivation, where does it start from? And I was not transformed from sorrow. I started this because of my childhood life, where I have seen a peaceful society. I have never faced violence in my life. Nobody very close to me have died or killed, but somehow I draw motivation from there. But I am tired and exhausted, and I think, yes, this is something that we also have discussed a little bit yesterday, but as all of us are working in our own area and we are all exhausted, we need to be constantly reminded that you... Shall I continue? So I think we need to be constantly reminded that you need to be stronger, you need to have more, I don't know, faith or something, so that until this strength or until this motivation started emerging
yes.
Until this strength or this motivation started... Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, so until this motivation or whatever the source started emerging in our habit, then we don't have to keep on going back to where does it begin, how can I draw motivation, but it has to emerge in our habit. Unintentionally, we started doing like this, or we started talking using our hand. This is a kind of habit. And I want this source, this strength to become a part of my habit so that I don't have to. And it's not in my nature to go and talk to people or psychologists or, my friend. It's not in my nature. And I don't say no to people also. Not that I'm a very good person, but I just don't say no. And I keep on taking it in like that. So I'm sure yes, you must have faced similar situations. So how have you dealt in this similar situation and continue to stay strong?
Yeah, certainly. I think, including myself, sometimes the problem so great, so difficult, but then sometimes we really feel my effort, not much sort of kasata. My effort of myself, making effort cannot sort of solve this problem. So problem is huge. So then, some kind of endless problem. So then, that really sometimes cause demoralize, and frustrations or fed up. Then, this problem, whether there is, I think yesterday I mentioned whether this problem can solve or not. then most probably, if we concerned people make effort, there is possibility solving this problem. Then the society with this problem or without this problem, which is better? Certainly, a society without this problem, at least minimize. So then, that brings, some kind of conviction. Or therefore, I must make effort, regardless achieve easily or not, or even our own lifetime, whether achieve or not, doesn't matter. We are working for humanity. Humanity means not only 21st century, 22nd century, 23rd century, 24th centuries. Humanity, I mean. So we have to work. And then again, as yesterday I mentioned, you see, now here it's quite clear. They're from different country. And really, even personal sort of story, these really immense difficult. Then your case comparatively more fortunate. No images of danger of your own life like that. So then, so more and more people from different countries now really seems now awakening. Oh, that just brings some kind of sort of enthusiasm or willingness to do something with hope. So I think this kind of meeting, I think really, for me also, sometimes I feel, yes, some my sort of ideas, some my effort, or maybe in Europe, more people, I know. In America, certainly, number of people, including politicians. There are, I know. So I feel, you see, there are sort of sometimes I call comrade. Definitely I have some comrade from United States or some European countries. Now Japan also increasing. So I did not much expect from Arab countries and from African countries. So a little bit isolated, not much our contacts. Now this time, you see, Arab and African, and not only, you see, from Africa, but also, you see, difficult, really, I think a field of killing, field of killing. So, you see, I think in a way, such terrible situation brought these kind of people, now really fed up about violence. You see, want, in spite risk or danger, determined to do something. This really gives me a lot of encouragement. So when I saw, you see, these people, these sort of things, then sometimes I feel, I should be a little bit younger. Now already 81-year-old, so I think next 10 years, then not much time, isn't it? So I feel like that. So you see, more and more people now really, getting same views, you see, fed up violence, and violence in the name of religion, I think completely fed up. Now, you see, no matter how small, but some seed now there. So you should think. Then, you see, that gives you more enthusiasm, more hope. And our effort, not just unrealistic thinking. These are realistic thinking. It seems now become realistic. If other people, nobody takes serious sort of interest then these things just idea, just a vision. So now, I think last at least a few decades, some of my visions seems now the realistic approach. So particularly this time, I really feel, as I mentioned earlier, now I have a lot of comrades from Africa, black Africans, and some sort of semi-black, or I don't know, some white people. I want to share my sort of experience. I think 3-4 times I have the opportunity to visit South Africa. So one day, I asked the organizer about my visit. I want to see one native African, black African, sort of home. Then they arranged, there's Soweto place. There is one family, native people. And then also you see another sort of native person, you see, join our sort of meeting. We have this sort of nice tea, Indian tea, and Indian music in that room. You see, we enjoy. Then I told, now South Africa, you already got the democratic sort of constitution. So the right of all people, particularly sort of also the local people or native people, have now right. So constitution changed. Now it is important, the native people, you see, your emotions, your mind now should should think we are equal with white people, equal. So anything which white people can do, your native people also have the sort of same potential, same ability, can do. So self-confidence, that's very important. Then one native person who introduced us as a teacher, he low voice telling me, we native people, our brain is inferior. We cannot catch up with white people. I really shocked and also feel very sad. Then I told him, no, this is absolutely wrong. If you ask some brain specialist, any differences of brain due to different color, no one say there's differences, same. Then also I mentioned, we Tibetan also, you see, there's some hardliner. The Chinese people as a people, wonderful people, we respect, we really admire. But among them some, you see, very narrow-minded and what you call Han chauvinism. The Han people are very superior. I think superior of whole world.
I'm not going there.
Western imperialist, particularly American imperialist, backward.
One people, 7 billion.
So you see some of these, the hardliner, you see, they consider Tibetan very backward. You see, they cannot develop by themselves without Han sort of help. I told him, see, we also have that kind of impression. But actually, we Tibetan, when we got opportunity, we can we can be top. There's already number of Tibetan student from India, now top sort of university, Kasota, academic level, top. So I told him, so that kind of feeling inferior. In India also sometimes they also untouchable people, sometimes they also you see, have some kind of feeling of inferior.
Exactly.
Inferior, right?
Yeah.
Kasa.
Inferiority complex.
Oh.
Inferiority complex.
Oh. So that is the really sort of, I think, the source of gap. Poor people remain like that without much effort, without self-confidence. Then, you see, even opportunity come, you see, they cannot make, you see, equal. So I told him, this is totally wrong, and I explained these things. Then, at last, with Kasa, Uri.
No, he took a long sigh.
Oh, long sigh. He then responds, yes, now he convinced we are same, we are equal. When that response comes, I feel a tremendous relief. Now at least I helped to change one individual's mental state. So that's important. It is quite clear, the northern world, industrialized nation, you say, much developed. Southern world, poor. Now this gap must reduce, must eliminate. How? Northern industrialized nation should provide money or because of the knowledge and because of the skills and sort of also the missions. And then the southern world, you see, work hard with sort of self-confidence. We can work where the white people reach. We also can reach. The climate, I think, we cannot change. The India, for example, India, too much hot. And Africa also, see, huge to Sahara, like that, you see, too hot, isn't it? The northern world, during winter, too cold, but you see facilities there. Sometimes it's too hot, then difficult, isn't it? So that we cannot change. But you see, with modern sort of facility, you see, outside we cannot much change, but inside we can change, isn't it? Oh.
Your Holiness.
So therefore, sorry, again. Sorry. So therefore, you see, self-confidence. We are equal, we are same human being, mentally, intellectually, we all same. So build self-confidence and work hard. That's the only way to reduce this gap, reach the poor, and global level.
Your Holiness.
And yesterday, one of the most powerful things that I think everybody heard was when you said, I think to Nadia, that it is, you don't know Tunisia, she knows Tunisia. It is up to her.
Tunisia, yes.
And I know that that is the power of many of these youth leaders, is that they are, as you said a minute ago, they are fed up. And I wanted to ask Amule from South Sudan, who is definitely one of those voices of someone who's been fed up and is working to try to make a change.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness. My name is Amule Emmanuel. I come from South Sudan. Just like building on what my colleague Silvio said, you know, in South Sudan, the youth are the majority in the country. But then, being the majority, we still find that we are very divided. We are very divided based on our tribes, based on our religion, based on where we come from. And because of these divisions, the politicians easily find it so easy to misuse us. The war that Silvio talked about, it was us, the youth, who fought it. The politicians come, they deceive us, they promise us lots of nonsense. If you become my militias, when I get power, I will give you this, I'll give you that. It's mostly the youth who engage in this violent conflict. And my question to you would be like, based on your experience, what mechanism do you think we can employ as people who engage with youth in our different communities to influence this youth to join our movement, to work with us, so that we say no to the politicians. Thank you very much.
That I don't know. I think difficult to say. I think, as we already sort of discussed, you see, your sort of the effort, like as a ripple survey.
Ripple effect.
One drop of stone, then the ripple goes spread. So firstly, some individual, you should start some work, then more active, more wider sort of contact, not only within your own community or your own country, but international level. Then you see politicians or leaders also pay more attention. So I think immediately their next election, they consider election is something very important for their own power or for their own interest.
Yeah, exactly. So, based on the recent agreement that is signed, the agreement provides us 30 months. So thereafter, there's going to be an election. So, but I think the ideas that I will take from you will really very much help, because I know when it comes to election, they will still come back to us as youth. They will still come back to it because they need our votes.
Yeah. That's right.
And Your Holiness, can I just ask Muad to chime in, because he's working with young journalists, and you mentioned earlier the responsibility of journalists, and I think that's exactly what Muad's experience is.
Yeah. I think let me say a few sentences. You know, one time in Delhi, so one meeting, there's some sort of, I think some problem in certain area. So one my sort of friend, one Kasati Swami, he sort of explained these things, and then he want to organize some kind of more active thing or reminds leaders or politicians these problems. So then I told them, if you organize well some demonstrations, then I want to join. Sometimes it is necessary, provided very non-violent way, some demonstrations. That is important. Yes?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Muad Azougar from Morocco. So as Nancy said, I do work with young people, and we are developing their skills in journalism so that they can talk about the issues and the problems they have in their communities, as a way, again, to criticize the politicians, and so that they can create a positive change in their communities. And mostly like to, as well, like promote peace through media. One of the things that I am, one of the challenges that I have faced, mostly like in my peace building work, because I do training, peace building trainings for young people. One day I was in this city, and it's in southeast of Morocco. It's called Agdez. In that city, there are a lot of tribes. There's tribes. They're like most of they're like race. These are like white. Others they are black. They belong to different tribes like Sahrawis, and so there are different tribes. One of the main issues is that it's really hard to bring them together to kind of like talk, because sometimes one of the problems is just a very small problem between one person from this tribe and another person from that tribe. even if it is very, very simple, it gets to the point that one of them kills the other. Just because of these, even if they share the same religion. And the religion, it's like, it forbids that one kills the other, but still they're doing it. So mostly it's because of their pride. I don't want to go down and kind of talk with you. So how can we, as young leaders, approach these types of problems, especially when it deals with the, pride of someone? How can we bring them to kind of appreciate and know that that person is the same as me, and we're all living in one place? So thank you very much.
I think these things largely depend on education. So sometimes I ask some young, in Europe, I ask, I think I mentioned, one of my close friend, actually scientist, great scientist, physicist, one German, von Weizsäcker. You see, I consider him not only my friend, but also my tutor regarding quantum physics. So, in 1990s, you see, once he told me, when he was young, as a young German, the French is their enemy. In their German eye, French is their enemy. Similarly, in French eye, German is their enemy. Now, that kind of attitude completely changed, he mentioned. So I think proof, it's very clear. The Adenauer, the German, I think, first president, or I think something, New German's president, and then de Gaulle, the French president. You see, I think Morocco, Algeria, he very much involved, isn't it? De Gaulle, General de Gaulle.
Yeah. Charles de Gaulle.
De Gaulle. So during wartime, they are really is an enemy. But then, new reality, I think, main person who developed this idea of European Union. So, no longer negative feeling or attitude. In this respect, I also noticed many Japanese, I ask, do you have some grievance where? Or resentment towards America. You see, you use because of the 2 atomic bombs, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No Japanese respond me, they have some grievance or something negative feeling towards America. No. Similarly, German. I think when Obama, as a candidate, when he visited Berlin, I think over 500,000 or something. Big number of German youth welcome him. Mm-hmm. There's no sign of some kind of negative feeling towards America. So these two nations, Japanese, you see no sign of some kind of
resentment.
No. Even I just some extent some kind of revenge feeling. No. So whereas Chinese communists, you see, they often repeat the massacre of Nanjing during wartime. Deliberately, you see, reminds these things. So I think education really makes differences. So therefore, I think some problems we cannot solve just directly, but overall, the public education, less education, less knowledge about the whole world, just isolate their own area, their own family, then these things will happen. So I think mainly education important. Then I think more news from Europe, from rest of the world. I think the television, you have television, so television program and different countries, different religion, different race live together happily. India also is one example. East India, I think you know, East India, South India, West India, North India, Central India, different language, different script, isn't it?
Yeah.
You from North India or South India?
I'm from all over India.
No. But you see, when you born, you cannot simultaneously born in different places. only one
It's a
place.
matter of perception.
Oh.
Holiness.
So your birthplace?
Yeah, North India, very much near Nepal.
Kharsa.
Nepal Tamil.
Ka.
Payu Tamil, North India.
Right. Yeah. So sometimes you see, the Tamil people from Tamil Nadu, you see, they consider Tamil language is superior than Hindi. So that kind of sort of little sort of different feelings there. But all these sort of the people or sort of different community, different language, different sort of script live together.
Yeah, surely.
So therefore, these things, I think, Kasota.
I would like to add, ma'am, in this regard to what His Holiness has said, that in the Quran, one particular verse which is usually recited as a part of the Friday sermon also, it talks about Adl and Ihsan. These are the two Arabic phrases, Adl and Ihsan. Justice and proactive obligation. You see, God says that when there is a situation where there is X and Y, and X is not very kind to Y, then Y has got the right to meet justice to X. Fine. But God will be happier if Y goes out of his way and does some sort of an extra obligation, like go and give a flower bouquet to him. And there you start teaching him in your own soft manner. That is one way of bringing the other person's ego down.
So wonderful. So then I think another method, if possible, some sort of, let's say there's some NGO or some organization or some group, this is students or something, touring different European countries where you see multi culture or multi linguistic, but still remain together. So sometimes Scotland, they want to separate from rest of. Oh, I have one sort of experience. One time, I was in Scotland, Edinburgh. You see, just I talk a few my friend there, and from my mouth, slipped. I mentioned, England, this very nice city of England. Then he immediately say, no, this is not England. This is Scotland.
Nice accent. You said that with a nice English Scottish accent.
So such things, of course, there are. But overall, I think the European Union, the spirit of European Union, you see, different country, historically, you see, enemy each other, but you see, new reality, new circumstances, common interest is more important than individual interest. So you see, they are very much willing. And I often, you see, mentioning German, they are Deutschmark, very high value. No, but they're willing accept euro. Then Italy, the lira, very cheap. So for Italy, I think euro is much better than lira. So these things, you see, the people, you see, not much seriously concerned about their sovereignty or these things. Rather, you see, more interest about common interest. Now time come. I think sometimes I also feel Africa, I think one time I heard the concept of Pan-Africa. So eventually, some kind of union of Africa, I think the youth, I think should keep, you see, these kind of ideas. Will not achieve within next few decades, but idea it should develop. Then I think this war between sort of small states will not happen. Then union of Africa, then eventually military, the military force, mobile, efficient military force belongs to the Union of Africa, not individual state. Then, you see, this unnecessary sort of killing, unnecessary sort of, that's a war. And then weapon can reduce. Then civil war also reduce. So,
Your Holiness,
just my dream.
can I invite another voice actually from a country that has actually gone the other direction? It used to be one big country and now it's two countries. You heard from our two leaders from the south. If I could ask Mohammed from Sudan to give his perspective on that.
Thank you. My name is Mohammed. I'm from Sudan. Actually, it's been North Sudan. In 2010, joined some groups working in the election. We think in that the election can unite the country. Unfortunately, in 2012, South Sudan independence happened, and we feel very upset and disappointed. Not because our friends and brothers in South Sudan, their choice was to leave our country, but because the leaders convinced the Southern Sudanese to leave the country because after the Darfur crisis, the country collapsed totally. I'm thinking always about how we can work together as brothers, not as different countries. Therefore now, there are more 2 million people in IDPs camp.
2 million.
IDPs camps.
Internal refugees.
Internal refugees, that's right.
And the conflict, it transformed from political conflict for tribal conflicts between the same religion, Arabs and Africans. So I don't know how we can see our country to be peaceful and prosperous. So for your view, how we can reduce this tension, how we can live together and not let other part of our country, which is Darfur, to leave the country. And now we hear from people in the North Sudan, around Egypt, they looking to leave the country. So I'm really feeling very sad about the future of our country. I'm very happy about your idea of Pan-Africa. So all the African countries have been in one united. But there is always some challenges. How we can solve our own problem in a country, for example, in Sudan, and then go further for the yeah. So what do you think? How we can do that?
Can I take a similar sort of question? It's education, people, and then you see more because of the wide, because of the more broader view, broader sort of views. Then also maybe some help, you see, in some small group, you see, talking, thinking about a Pan-Africa or Union of Africa. You see, that kind of the idea, so to give the sort of the, new concept, new outlook. Then you see some serious young people or even older people may pay some attention about these ideas. Then you see more and more thinking these lines, then small sort of, I think, conflict within small community and due to small sort of reasons, then this becomes worthless. Actually foolish, isn't it? If you think more sort of bigger issue, more bigger sort of aim, then these small things automatically you feel, oh yes, this is our problem, but doesn't matter. That kind of feeling comes. That's my view. Of course, I think finally, African problem have to solve by African, and because you see, you know best. I'm outsider, and then I want to tell you, see, mainly this person, I'm not God. If Allah there, he may have answer for all problem, but I'm not like that.
Yeah, of course. You also depend upon God only.
Good. Tea. Now session of tea.
But here, one thing I would like to give an input here, that we should reduce, all over the world, the people in such situations should reduce our dependence upon the government. Usually what happens is that everything from the government, yes, government has to take care of everything, but then not that it gives us freedom to not to do anything. So if the initiative is taken by the people, that serves wonderfully well. There are instances like in Bangladesh, the initiative was taken by one individual and it developed into a minuscule level economy there. And because of that, that gentleman got the Nobel Prize also. Because he worked for years together in the villages, etc., at the ground level, at individual level. So something of that sort perhaps will have to come. A revolution of that kind will have to come in the world, where the people take the initiative and do it themselves. Then the government may fall in line.
So we wanted to, because there are a number of, everybody here has exceptional stories to tell, and we wanted to make sure that we were able to hear everybody's voice. So we'll hear from a number of you before asking His Holiness to respond. Okay? So I'd like to ask Shubi to kick us off.
All right. Shubi is my name, once again, from Uganda. And yesterday you talked about compassion, love for humanity, and loving one another, which I believe is a very key factor. However, I happen to work with people who are considered misfits, who are considered spoiled, who are considered black sheep in their families. And this comes from a personal experience. All right. This comes from a personal experience back then in 2013. In my last year of university, when I was approached by one of my very close relatives. She had early pregnancy. She was about 17 years and a half. She got pregnant at a really, really early age. And she had no one to confide in apart from me. So when I tried to help her out by asking her who the father of the child is and all that, she actually couldn't tell who the father of the child was. So I think I did neglect her, or I did discriminate her, I think, thinking that she had actually done a mistake and what she did was wrong. So what shocked me is 6 months down the road, I'm walking by a certain hotel on Kampala Street, and I actually find her doing sex work, being a prostitute. It actually led her to that because she needed to get a source of income to feed the child that she had actually given birth to because she didn't know who the father of the child was. So that brought me to waking up. It was like a wake-up call for me to try and help people who are actually into that type of work to come back to society, because I do believe I contributed in the discrimination. Yeah, I did contribute to discrimination. So we work with them to come back to community so that they have that, what we call, what we went through of spiritual dimensions of peace building, that internal conviction to try and be themselves, to try and be to have that self-worth by giving them alternative sources of income through entrepreneurship skills and all that. So the problem I'm having here is working with this type of people, the sex workers. My team and I are actually now getting discrimination from religious leaders, discrimination from our own society, that how can we dare work with such people? So in my kind of situation, I'm facing a problem of discrimination, and yet I'm being discriminated for actually helping out humanity exist peacefully. So that's where my challenge is right now. Yes.
I think you know best answer for this question. I think the society, some discrimination due to certain sort of behavior. These, as I mentioned earlier, you see, lack of sort of sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, ultimately lack of sense of oneness of human being. So behavior, sometimes you see, because of injustice or some wrong thing, but then you should feel more sort of sense of concern, these people, and willing to help, not discriminate. So this, I think, basic, that's the problem. The whole world, you see, small, low level, discriminating due to certain behavior, and our level, you see, discriminate with religions, because of due to different religion, due to nations, like that. So this, you see, our big challenge. We have to change that. And east, west, south and north. Always there is some kind of way of thinking, oh, something northerner, something different, southerner, something different, eastern and west. So within East, China, India, and Pakistan, and all like that. So these, I think, worldwide sort of problem. So I think the society, I think religious leader is sometimes, you see, even I think female, male, female, some sort of cause of discriminations. Some Christian community, bishops, you see, should be male or something. Now, gradually some changing. So these, I think, the century-old problem. And because of prostitutes,
Prostitutes.
Oh, prostitute, what called?
Prostitutes.
Prostitute. You see, a century-old. As a Buddhist, you see, Buddha's own sort of story, Buddha's time. Also, you see, they are. Now, should not discriminate. So they, I think should have sort of some kind of willingness to help these people, poor people. So they are desperate. This is something should happen. I don't know.
I have, Madam, I'll just say a few words in this regard. That, see, many times I also think on these lines which you are saying, and think on behalf of the people of the world. So there are challenges in the world, different kinds of challenges all over the place, as His Holiness is rightly saying. So I think that if God would have willed, He could have made me born in the Saudi royal family. I would have been playing in gold. Or He would have made me even born in the British royal family. But I thank Him. Thanks God, He did not do that with me. He made me born in India, which is a place wonderful in many cases, but it is a normal place, so therefore it has its own set of challenges. So I have been given that responsibility that you are being born in this situation, in this place, with these challenges. Now God says, I am watching you. You are a man full of resourcefulness, very highly educated, and you have got your own status in society, your own influence. How do you use all that asset for the betterment of the people around you, for lifting them out of the challenges? That's what I think, how it should be tackled.
And I think that's a good segue to Sukaina, who's working hard in exactly that way as well in Morocco.
Your Highness, Sukaina from Morocco. I work in a community center in a neighborhood called Sidi Moumen. So Sidi Moumen, this neighborhood is the largest and poorest slum in Morocco.
Slum all.
And it's the place where all the terrorist suicide bombers who were involved in the terrorist attacks that shook Morocco twice came from. The people we work with are people who have been used and abused and have lost hope in political parties, in NGOs, and in their future. So we created the center in order to provide these people with a safe space and environment in order to express their talents and themselves, to avoid delinquency and extremism through languages, workshops, trainings, art, and music. 5 years after the creation of the center and 5 years of success, everything that used to inspire me and bring me joy stopped inspiring me. And they started questioning everything around me, from God, religion, my job, why, and they started asking questions that remained unanswered, and sometimes they were very embarrassing questions. Why am I doing this? Is this really what I want to do? Or am I being selfish because I'm using their pain, because their pain makes me feel better about myself? Hearing people and seeing the kids, seeing me as their example and model to follow was like a torture for me, because I was asking myself, is this really the real me? Am I that person they see, or I'm just the image of the person they created, and I'm just trying to maintain this image. At that time, it was the... It was the moment when I decided to stop everything, and which was a hard decision, and I started traveling alone, which was something against religion, against the social constructions in my country, the social values and the cultural constructions. And this journey took me from Sufi Turkey to Thailand to Dharamsala to India to Pakistan. And what I learned about after this experience, that in our experience at the center, we were focusing more on the invisible scars.
Invisible kasa.
Scars. Much helps.
And forgot about we were focusing on the visible scars, and we forgot about the invisible ones. The things that we couldn't see and the unspoken words. This is how we started and decided to start focusing more on trainings, on peace building and conflict resolution and social mediation, because I believed that if you are not in peace with yourself, you can't promote peace. And that peace starts from within.
Right.
That everybody is fighting its own war inside. That sometimes we forget our internal conflicts. We think that conflicts are always about wars, guns, and invasions, and that internal conflicts are also a war that we have to win. Thank you.
This? Yeah, I think because of the visible way.
No.
I think visible level. I think we're doing. You also doing. I think wonderful. So you should carry continuously. Then invisible, some mysterious things, I think last more than 5,000 years among humanity. You see, questioning why, how. So you see different religious tradition, you see develop different idea like concept of God, creator, or say another the concept of law of causality. So these are mysterious things. You see, I think better not think these fields. There are more complications. I'm a student of these philosophical fields. I'm a student. You see, what's the day? I think at least I think it's 5,000 years. We human, you see, because of questions. Why? And then, if may I say so, you see, to you, people who believe Creator, then one time, one sort of my friend, very serious religious-minded, he believed God. So he asked me, is God so kind, compassionate? Then why, among His creature, a lot of mischievous people there? Why? That also God's creation. He asked me. Then my answer, half joke, half there's no other way, only that answer. So I answer, since God creates heaven and hell, so there must be someone who's ready to go to hell. Otherwise, there's no use, no purpose of creation of hell.
But, Your Holiness, 99% of the scientists also believe in God.
No, I don't think.
Yes, they do. I have got their list.
I think
I'll pass on to you, sir.
Among your friend, actually, those scientists, your friend, I think they politely say they also believe Creator.
No.
But
they have never met me, but they have written.
Many scientists, they say they also no faith. No faith. So some of these scientists, some even used to say, Buddhism is not religion. Buddhism is science of mind. Some say that. And Einstein also, you see, I think refers something like that. So this is not the sort of occasion, you see, comparison about different religious sort of teaching. No.
Your Holiness, I think the inner...
Yeah, that's very true. Inner peace, without inner peace, you cannot achieve genuine peace. And as yesterday I mentioned, external disarmament. Firstly, internal disarmament. So then how? Then different answer. I think those people who believe Creator then follow sincerely, seriously about teaching of Allah or God or Bible. Look, then those, you see, those people who follow different sort of tradition, no concept of Creator, self-creation, then look about mind, about emotion, then use our intelligence. What kind of emotion brings me more peace, more strength, including physical health? Which emotion destroy my peace of mind and eventually my body's health or peace within the family? Which emotion destroy friendship? Which emotion brings harmony or trust or friendship? Then, you see, try to make distinction among the, I think, thousands different emotions. Make distinction. This kind of emotion is destructive. So, once you see, you understand the anger is really destructive force. That sort of the understanding, that kind of attitude itself, you see, you little bit sort of distance from anger. Other hand, you just anger, consider part of our mind, part of our emotion. It's just part of our daily sort of way of life. Then anger become more stronger, like that. So you see, the study about, as I mentioned earlier, about the hygiene of emotion. That's very important. Should not consider something religious matter. This is academic and concern about peace of mind. So here, ancient Indian knowledge really have great potential, make a contribution, not as a religion. So we are trying, you see, separate books containing about, you see, this about mind. I really call science of mind.
And I think this is one of the core challenges for all of us, but as youth leaders working on difficult problems in difficult environments, is being able to hold that balance. And Schofield is working in a similar environment in Kenya on a similar set of problems, as Sukena just described.
Your Holiness, I'll head into it. After working in conflict management and specifically countering violent extremism for a while, it's been a theory that terrorists have to kill one and scare 1,000. And most of the times we only focus on the after action of terrorists and we don't focus on what happens in the community. In Eastleigh, Nairobi, there was a bomb on Juja Road in a public means transport. And it was suspected that a Somali Muslim had detonated the bomb. He left something in the vehicle and the bomb detonated and people died. Based on that, the after effect of that process was xenophobia within the community. Most of the people in the community did not want Muslims in general, but Somali Muslims very specifically. As an organization, we brought together both the Muslim clerics and both from Kenya and Somali, and we brought Christian clerics and representatives in the community to have an interfaith dialogue. I can tell you for a fact, it was difficult, specifically for me to have a discussion with a sheikh who considers me non-Muslim, but also to have them sit together and have a discussion. The good thing, though, is that we had a success. Right now, both Muslims and Christians can board the same public means transport and go home happily. In fact, just recently, there is one Muslim who actually took time to protect a Kenyan from being bombed or killed by Al-Shabaab on the way from Garissa. Now, there are two things that keep me wondering. And borrowing from what you said yesterday, that Buddha did not ask his followers to follow him blindly. He asked them to question and test for themselves his teaching. The two things are this, that how will we ever reach a situation, and it's just something that I'm wondering in my mind, it's not necessarily a question, how will we ever reach a situation where we have the opportunity to ask questions to religion, not necessarily to counter it, but to understand more about religion and apply it? And then secondly, when will we ever reach a situation, as all of us, where we have a discussion instead of a top-down approach as far as discussing matters of religion are concerned when we are dealing with religious leaders and specifically the youth in the community? Thank you very much.
I think you are better positioned to answer for that.
After you, Your Holiness.
Then strictly speaking, I am non-believer. You see, usually the concept of believer is except God, creator. So from that viewpoint, Buddhists are non-believer, isn't it? You can say that. Then in broader sense, of course, we also believe certain deeper level of value. So accordingly, we can say we Buddhists also believer. We are not talking about the physical level only, because only physical level, but deeper level and next life. So ultimately, salvation. We are talking these things. So we also, you see, deal a lot of mysterious things. So we also are kind of believer. But these is believe. As far as they prove by reason, by experiment, through your own sort of practice, like that. So my own case, I'm just a little practitioner. You see, the thinking certain sort of concept regularly, you see, use intelligence maximum way with questions. Questions. Then eventually it affects my destructive emotion, much reduced. So it is sort of kasoda, already kasoda, tested. So like that. So then, on the basis of small sort of experience, I can say, some mysterious things it mentioned in text, or it's possible. Because of this, once you see, you use because of the
once you see the tip of the iceberg, you know there is iceberg beneath the
so something
sea.
Like that. So I think you are right person to answer that.
Yes. I will. Thank you, Your Holiness.
And you also. Although language is some problem, otherwise this is no problem.
So it is like this, that whenever I have to understand a particular provision which is written in the scripture, then I should consider it just like if I have to understand a law, an article of my constitution, Indian constitution, one article I have to understand. Then it's not that I'll just read and understand it. I'll read it and then I will go to the commentators. There are tens of commentators who have devoted their lifetime to understanding the constitution. There are judges who have given decisions. Their decisions are quoted there, etc. So from that commentary, I try to understand what this particular article of the Constitution says. Similarly, when I have to read a religious scripture, and I can very happily share with all of you that I read all the major scriptures, in fact, all the scriptures of the world. So when I read any scripture, I read it with the help of at least half a dozen, at least 6 famous commentaries which have been written in the world. After that, my inner self starts telling me, actually, this is the message. So, and to add on to that, the Quran says itself that God says in the Quran, do not believe in this book for those who are educated. Do not believe in this book blindly, what you are saying. Read it, try to understand it, convince yourself that this is correct, then believe it.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. And I think one of the things that all of our youth leaders are wondering is how to elevate their voice so that elders, political leaders, religious leaders truly hear and listen to their voice. And one of the ways that I'd like to ask Nuria, as a writer and poet, I think she's tried in a lot of different ways to raise that voice.
Before that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1000 से लेकर के 1500 साल तक की ओल्ड हिस्ट्री जो है उसके ऊपर हमें स्टडी करनी पड़ेगी कि इंडिया के अंदर उस वक्त जो रूलर्स थे वेरियस स्टेट्स के अंदर उसके अंदर उनकी पोजीशन क्या थी कि वो अपनी स्टेट के अंदर एक रिलीजियस मास्टर, एक रिलीजियस लीडर को रखते थे. अगर उनको किसी भी रिलीजन, कास्ट एंड क्रीड के बारे में कोई कंट्रोवर्सी, कोई क्लैशेस होते थे तो वो उन रिलीजियस मास्टर के पास में उसको रेफर करते थे. वो उसके ऊपर अपनी ओपिनियन फेम करके उन रजवाड़ों को, राजा महाराजाओं को, नवाबों को रेफर करता था. देन राजा महाराजा जो है वो अपना डिसीजन लेते थे. यही वजह थी कि उनका एंटायर पीरियड जो है वो पीसफुल रहा. आज हम इंडिया के अंदर अगर पीसफुल रहना चाहते हैं और वर्ल्ड के अंदर पीसफुल रहना चाहते हैं तो हमारे पास में एक रिलीजियस मास्टर होना चाहिए.
If this subject, we have to study the 1000 years old Indian traditions. The all rulers in India, they were having a religious guru or dharma guru in his advisory council. Wherever the religious dispute or any subject which is related to religion, then they seek the advice of the religious head or advisor or the guru on that subject. And once the religious authority or the guru will give the analysis of that issue or the problem, the king must follow that. That was the reason at that time, 1000 years back, 1500 years back, there was no communal clash, there was no religious conflict, there was no religious problem. Nowadays, if we want to adopt this practice, so in the whole world and India, you have to put the way in defense, you keep defense advisor. In economics, you keep the economic advisor. You other subject to keep foreign external affairs advisor. Similarly, if the religious conflict, you have to keep one person who think that all religion are same. Then he will be the fair man to give the right advice, right direction, and that direction will at that time was the final to the king.
इसी तरह से throughout the world, especially in Arab countries, there is a big problem टेररिज्म, टेररिस्ट, जिहाद, अगर किसी गवर्नमेंट ने थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड अगर आपकी रिलीजियस सेरेमनीज को परफॉर्म करने के लिए बैन लगाया, नमाज को पढ़ने के लिए बैन लगाया, कुरान शरीफ को पढ़ने के लिए बैन लगाया, देन पोजीशन यू कैन डू जिहाद। लेकिन अगर हमें यहाँ पर नौजवान लेडीज़ मौजूद हैं, मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि वो अपने अपने एरिया में जा कर के जितने बच्चे कम उम्र और बच्चियाँ हैं उनकी एजुकेशन के लिए कोशिश करें। ये सबसे बड़ा जिहाद है एजुकेशन को लेकर के। लड़कियों की एजुकेशन मस्ट है इस वर्ल्ड के अंदर, क्योंकि माँ जो है वो फर्स्ट उसकी टीचर है अपने बच्चे की। वो जो उसको टीचिंग देगी वो कहीं दूसरी उसको इंस्टीट्यूशन के अंदर नहीं मिलेगी।
Nowadays, in the Arab countries, no kingdom or no ruler has banned namaz or any religious ceremony. If there is a ban on namaz or religious ceremony, then there is a issue of jihad. Otherwise, there is no jihad in terms of today's problems. And if exactly jihad is required for education of the people, education of the children, education of the women. And for women education, the mother is the best teacher, because not content-wise education, but the harmony, the social evils, and compassionate, and these are the factors which the mother can teach. If this word, and Diwan Sahib has requested all women here go back to their countries, and in fact they want to do work to teach the children, teach the girls, and especially women, and for this special definition of the evils and jihad and other things.
Thank you, Diwan. Thank you.
मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि not in India, but throughout the world, जितने भी रिलीजन हैं उनकी अपनी अपनी बुक्स हैं, उनके अपने अपने रिलीजियस मास्टर्स हैं जिन्होंने ऑर्डर्स डायरेक्शन रिटन के अंदर दिए हैं और वो अवेलेबल हैं। तो टोटल रिलीजन को लेकर के जितने कॉमन डायरेक्शंस हैं उसको एडिट किया जाए, कंट्रोवर्सी होने का सवाल ही नहीं उठता। जो सही पाथ है उसको फॉलो कर लो, कहीं कंट्रोवर्सी नहीं होगी, कहीं क्लैशेस नहीं होगा। अपने अपने रिलीजन पे कायम रहते हो। कोई रिलीजन जो है एक दूसरे को लड़ाने की कोशिश नहीं करता, किसी मजहब ने आपस में भेदभाव की नहीं रखी। ये तो हमारा क्रिएट किया हुआ चीज़ है। आपस के अंदर एक दूसरे ने अपने आप को बांट रखा है, लेकिन क्लैशेस के लिए नहीं कहा गया। कोई धर्म, कोई मजहब, कोई रिलीजन ये नहीं कहेगा कि साहब वो धर्म बुरा है, वो मजहब बुरा है, वहाँ पर ये मत करो, वहाँ ये मत करो। इसलिए हमें जो उनकी सही रियल तालीमात हैं उसको अपनाना पड़ेगा, उसको एडिट करना पड़ेगा, उसको फॉलो करना पड़ेगा अपने ज़िंदगी के अंदर। और मैं हिज होलीनेस साहब को और जो ऑर्गेनाइजर हैं अमेरिका से, उनको मैं बधाई देता हूँ कि उन्होंने इस किस्म का फंक्शन रखा यहाँ पर। और मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ इनसे कि ये वर्ल्ड के अदर कंट्रीज़ के अंदर भी इस किस्म का फंक्शन रख करके वहाँ पर इस किस्म की बातों को वहाँ की पब्लिक के सामने ज़्यादा ज़्यादा करें। हमारा पूरा सपोर्ट उनको रहेगा।
The last, His Holiness says that you go back to your countries and there's a different religions, different books are available. The common preaches in the different religion, if you will follow, there will be no clash. Because the no religion teach any wrong thing to the human beings. And lastly, he says, कि I welcome all of your people to continue this your efforts, and he thankful to His Holiness that he has invited him for the meeting with the young leaders of this various countries, and you continue these efforts in any country. This kind of gathering will be hold, then he will be willing to join you for your mission and your efforts.
Just one word. Sometimes, you see, people, follow the religious leaders sort of, or say they advise. Then the religious leader themselves, sometimes narrow-minded, too much orthodox, then this problem, you see, happen. As I think yesterday also I mentioned, I noticed Indian Muslims, Malaysia, Indonesia, and you see, in European different countries, you see, same, they follow of same Quran. But because of wider contact in India, this country, so the Muslim, you see, not only, you see, the difficulties between Shia and Sunni, but also, you see, between Muslim Hindus, Muslim Jains, Muslim Christians, Muslim Buddhists, you see, not much problem. And I think everybody, you see, mentioned about their own sort of personal sort of experience. My case also, when I was in Tibet, I felt, oh, Buddhism is best. Then after I came, India, and meeting with, you see, many spiritual practitioners, including this bearded sort of person. And then, Karsa Martin
Luther.
No. Karsa, Mare Chut Karsa. Oh, Thailand should want to
Thomas Merton.
Thomas Merton. Such a sort of genuine practitioner. After meeting such people, then I develop respect all these major religious traditions. And also, as I briefly mentioned yesterday, wonderful Muslim practitioner. So that sort of my sort of, or say the attitude towards different religious traditions. Now I also with conviction, I always state all major religious traditions have same potential. So this result, this awareness come as a result of meeting with people. Not only my own sort of the Buddhist friends. So similarly, we just discussed some kind of our sort of program, and visit different sort of holy places, and from time to time more interfaith sort of meeting, serious discussion, not just a ceremony, serious discussion. I think if you see, let us know a certain sort of religious leader in your country, and we can send invitation, then invite, and then let them see there are, firstly, Muslim brothers, sisters, whose mind very open, genuine religious harmony there. And secondly, I think some of those sort of, or say the people who just, I also use now some relevant. I always use telling concept of one truth, one religion, and the concept of several truth, several religions is contradiction. But you see, in the terms of individual, concept of one truth, one religion is very relevant in order to develop single-pointed faith. But in the terms of community, now in the terms of 7 billion human beings, in any way we have to accept several truths and several religions. One truth, one religion, unrealistic. 7 billion human beings, even you see, will not become believer. And no question, 7 billion will not become Islam, Muslim. And impossible to become Buddhist, impossible to become Christian. That's the reality. We have to accept the reality. We live on that kind of sort of situation. So, whether you like it or not, you have to accept several truths and several religions. Then, you see, due to different faith almost looks enemy attitude. It's completely changed. So the more often sort of wider contact is very essential.
Thank you.
So I think like you, and I think the close is that even ear is close. Now at least ear is remain like that. Then let me see here more different views, different voice.
So His Holiness, I'd love to, with that, call on Ikhlas to share her story. Thank you, Duan, for that call to open action.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Ikhlas, and I'm from Sudan. I'm really so thrilled and proud of being part of this amazing program and dialogue. And I want to share my experience from Sudan, especially in Darfur, where I work with with the UN keeping mission, and in my work I was working mostly with women who were victims of war, and they were the most vulnerable population of the Darfur conflict, and they have experienced a number of violations during the flee and after the displacement in the camps. They are suffering of discrimination, gender-based violence, domestic violence, rape, and the ignorance, and they are not visible in the peace-building process. So at the same time, as UN staff, I didn't feel that we were really able to help them, because our work was only to meet them, the victims, and make reports and send them. That was all the story. So I was not satisfied with that, and I decided to have my own efforts and establish my own initiative to help my people there. So I have established Women for Life Association. It was a component of women leaders from the different displacement camps in Darfur, especially in Zalinji, where I was. So, and we have done trainings for women empowerment to raise their awareness of their rights and the right to speak up, the right to report the abuses, and at the same time to give them the space to be part of the peace process. Then one of the problems and the challenges we faced that yes, women were proceeding and their understanding has changed, but at the same time, their male partners in families were not helping them. So we started to think about having a new initiative. We started thinking of having new initiative and including the male partners like youth leaders and like also the religious leaders and the spiritual leaders. And actually, we are still forming it and we are still discussing it. It is not formed yet. But really, I made good notes from what discussion was taking place from yesterday and today, and new reflections for the questions of my colleagues. So that was really good for me, and I took many notes that will be, and I will make use of them when I go back. The other issue also regarding, I'm still working with UN, and as we all know that UN staff are supposed to be different than other people, and we still have like discrimination among the staff themselves, and we have abuse of authority, we have really conflicts within the staff, which we are not able to solve them. Though we have rules and we have offices that rule this kind of conflicts, but still people are not able to leave their ego, are not able to leave their selfishness. So my question, I felt like people need different kind of strategies and techniques to help them to overcome such behaviors and such attitudes. And I want to just ask you from your experience, for peace builders to be having conflicts within themselves, how can the internal peace practices will help us to develop their internals in order to be healthy enough to bring peace. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Your effort, wonderful. I appreciate. And I think the answer, we already touched. Just more the same.
So, Yitut, if you would like, and then and maybe after your comment, we could just quickly hear from Nuria and Imran.
Thank you, His Holiness. I'm Yetut. I'm from Burma, and I was born and grown up in the border of the Thai and Burma, which is over 6 decades of civil war conflict, with ethnic wars fighting for their self-autonomy and self-determinations. In the age of 15, I'm moved to the capital cities, and I'm for the educational opportunity. In the 2012, after the 2 years of our country transactions from the dictatorship rule, several areas of the cities comes up in the communal conflict, which is religiously initiated and politically related conflict that happen most of the city, around the city. The community within the city, between the different religions, became fear and uncertainty, insecurities, and the rumors around those community. What we decided to do is we trying to convene meetings between the different religions and different religious leaders, trying to sharing the informations and verifications, the rumors around them. But the problem is, the radicalizations happen around the world, and also in Burma as well. In the Buddhism as well, the radicalization happened because of the reasons of their fearness of the disappearance of their religion. Especially they fear the disappear of the Buddhism from the world. This is their fear. So when we deal with those radical monks and radical followers, we have a big challenging because we came from the authoritarian country and we came from the very hierarchy system. So this is a very challenging for me to deal with that radical monks and radical followers. And a majority of the people are very silent. It means that those radical are making right things in the community. So it's very challenging for me to deal in that radicalization group. Thank you.
Very sad.
Yes.
Of course, you see, since those Buddhist monks not following Buddha's own teaching, then they will never sort of listen to anybody.
Thank you so much. In Burma, the majority is of Buddhist, no? Yeah. What is the percentage of Buddhists in Burma?
65.
So 60-65% population is fearing that it will disappear.
Is it impact of the global issues and the history of, they said the histories of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India as well. So I know that this is a fearness of those radicalized groups.
I think one factor, as far as Burma is concerned, Burma recent decades a little bit isolated. As well as Buddhist monks also isolated. I think that's the problem. So more wider contact and seeing more because of the wider way.
No, seeing things wide.
Then it will change. That also, you see, due to lack of sort of contact, like that.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much. From yesterday up to now, all of your speech was very useful for us. Thanks a lot. So we asked very more questions up to now. Now time, I want to say, if you have any question from all of us, you can ask, because sometimes the questions are also, it's not for that we know more than you. It's for that sometimes the questions also guide us in a good way. So if you have any question from all of the youth leaders that you're
they will answer your question, and I think.
Very good.
Quran.
He says that you ask questions now.
Yeah.
He says you should ask them questions.
If you have any questions for them.
Yeah. Thank you, Anna.
No, nothing. Except, you see, I really feel more sort of encouragement, more enthusiasm. There are such people, this sort of situation, more or less isolated, and a lot of problem. But even such sort of environment, you see, such sort of kasoda, young, with vision, with determination, wonderful, wonderful. That I want to tell you, otherwise, nothing.
I have to suggest a question which each one of us may ask oneself. And that is for your consideration, Your Holiness, that let me think of my last day in this world. Okay, after 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, there has to be my last day in this world. So let me think of my last day in this world. On that day, what would please me that I have done this in the world, and now I am getting out of this place, having contributed positively. So what all those things are, what all those actions are, which I can imagine will please me on my last day, that give me a sense of satisfaction that I have been useful in this world. That's it. I don't want any answers now, but this is by way of suggestion.
A good thing to ponder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imran.
Your Holiness, you have had a lot of stories from my friends, my colleagues. Though we are living in different countries, we have the same experience. So I would like to share my own experience. My name is Imran Alhaji Buba. I am from Yobe State in northeastern Nigeria. Yobe State is one of the most peaceful states until the emergence of Boko Haram insurgency, one of the deadliest terror organizations. Two of my friends have been victims of a bomb blast during one of the several attacks. And my neighbor was kidnapped for almost 3 weeks until his family were able to pay a ransom. However, my inspiration to start my peace building work start from my experience, my personal experience, my encounter with Boko Haram terrorists, face-to-face encounter. It was on 6 June 2010, on my way coming back from Maiduguri, that is the birthplace of Boko Haram, where I school, coming to Yobe State, my hometown. They stopped my bus, asked all the passengers, it is an 18-seater bus, they asked all the passengers to come out, show our ID card. They start to ask so many questions. And they were wearing military uniforms. So you cannot expect that they are Boko Haram terrorists. They were asking ID cards. And once you show your ID card, if you are a government official or you are a student, they just pick you to the bush. So one old man beside me, think of something, he said, these people are likely to be Boko Haram terrorists. Do you have ID card with you? I say, no, I don't have any ID card. Say, don't show them your ID card. They asked the 4 women and 2 old men to stay behind. And they searched for my pocket. I don't have any ID card with me, no any document to show that I'm a student or I'm working with government. Then they keep on asking me questions. What is your occupation? My body is just shaking with terror. I'm just thinking that they will kill me or they will kidnap me. That is how they recruit young people. They asked me to remove my shirt, to lie down on the ground, my face facing the ground. At that moment, I was just thinking of, like, I will feel the bullet in my body, that they will just shoot me or they will use knife as they are heavily armed. Then, after a few moments, one of them received a call. Then they just started to run that security agencies are coming. They take so many young people with them, put them in their vehicles, and run away. Whether they forget about me or something, I was just lying down on the ground. After some few minutes, security agencies come to the place. They pick us. They say they are Boko Haram terrorists. They have killed so many people in the bush. and they have taken so many people, including young women. That experience inspired me to start a peace building work, and the best way I can do it is to work with my fellow young people, because I believe young people have the ideas, energy, and talent to promote a culture of peace and tolerance in our communities. So I founded a local organization, Youth Coalition Against Terrorism. It's a coalition of students, teachers, lawyers, healthcare professionals. We are working together to develop counter-narrative messages to counter the messages of Boko Haram, to stop young people from joining them, and to help those that have already joined them to explain to them that this is not the best way, and to offer counseling services, trauma healing programs to the victims of terrorism. So that is my work, and I've been doing it, and I've been doing this work remarkably well for so many years from 2010 to date. My request is that you, as a spiritual leader and as a popular figure, you have access to many media. You mentioned CNN, Al Jazeera, and many medias that we young people will not have access to these medias. So we are urging you to use your voice, your powerful voice, to call many young people to engage in this kind of peace-building work. That is the best way we can counter violent extremism in our world of today. Thank you.
Don't expect too much.
Your Holiness, that is a beautiful final comment from our youth leaders that really sums up, I think, what we hope you can help with is to provide the encouragement, which you've done, as well as help to elevate their leadership, their voice. Oftentimes, youth leaders aren't heard the way that their experiences indicates they should be heard. And what you have here is a group of determined, passionate, committed, action-oriented leaders who are building peace, who have been deeply inspired by our 2 days. And
wonderful.
Love your final reflections.
I think just, one sentence: be optimistic. So due to certain sort of problem, it is also quite sort of sure whenever we start some good work with sincere motivation, obstacle bound to happen. Then there is danger to lose hope and become pessimistic. Right?
Pessimist.
So that is really real failure if we lose our hope and conviction and remain, I cannot do. That's the real sort of failure. So no matter how difficult it is, we should be more optimistic sort of attitude. That's my own experience. Through these difficult decades, I always keep that. And provided we should be truthful, honest, like that. So that I want to share. And then really I appreciate. So unknown friend, young friend, I think similar sort of desire, and not only desire, already committed. That's wonderful. Then male, female, I have some sort of view since many years. In ancient time, I think 100,000 years ago, no education. At that time, no concept of leadership, everybody equal. Just this is a small community, work together, and whatever they get, share together. Then gradually, population increased. Then farming system also start. So then, you see, some sort of stealing or abuse, or these things will happen. Then the concept of leadership develop. So at that time, no education. So in order to become leadership, physical strength is the key factor, like animal. So male dominance then come. So even religious field also male dominance. You see that kind of concept come because of the society's sort of structure. Then education come. Education brings more equal. So modern time, many leadership and many or some leadership, female leadership, very, very sort of effective, able leaderships. So now, existing education is not sort of sufficient. We need more holistic education. Holistic means include inner value. The most important inner value is love. So physically, now according to scientists, biologically, female have more sensitivity about others' suffering. Firstly, you see, mother, very important. All mother is a female. One male, you see, no matter how sort of love their children, here impossible to give milk. So, I think, frankly speaking, in human history, most of the warrior heroes, I think reality, the murderer. So most of these murderers were male. Even today, I think a nice work, nurse or some other sort of work, mainly carried by female. Or like a butcher or some other sort of work, and war mainly carried by male. So therefore, biologically, female have more potential to provide love or affection. Therefore, now time come when you see we have to work seriously promoting of human love, human compassion. In that respect, female should take more active role. Clear? So I'm very happy. Number of sort of females really, you see, you already committed these things. So now I think, imagine, I think eventually most of the leadership of the country is to become female, perhaps less danger of killing. I really feel.
Maybe some of them will be the next leaders of their country.
But some female exception. Generally speaking, I think a female biologically more sensitive other sort of pain. And that also, now some scientists, you see, they watch one female, one man, one male, you see, watching some movie which you see showing the painful sort of experience by someone, by another human being. Then physical reaction, female, much more stronger. So therefore, you see, traditionally, you see, female, almost, you see, have this sort of concept, just look after children and in the home. Now this, I think, outdated. We should be active in the society and lead. Okay, that's what I want to share. So my friend, another some Nobel laureate, you see, describe me as a feminist Dalai Lama. So I mean, there's sufficient reasons. I think based on not God's teaching, but scientists sort of finding.
And God who created the scientists. And God also who created the scientists.
Oh, God we consider male.
Thank you for those words of encouragement. I think we all appreciate that. Your Holiness.
Yes. I have nothing to offer, but, you know, 2 books, that book, say, this book, the Beyond Religion, actually, that title, not my sort of recommendation, but the publisher, you see, made that. So, Beyond Religion does not mean the subject which I describe here is something above religion. No, not at all. This, you see, the essence of all major religious message. The beyond means any religion, there is boundary. This is for 7 billion human beings, so no boundary. So that's the meaning of the beyond religion. So meant for the secular ethics. Okay. I wrote this and aiming as a human being how to educate people, how to make awareness people. This inner value is something very important for individual, for family, for community, or nation, or finally, humanity, world. That this book, toward a true kinship of faith. So all major religious traditions, in spite of different philosophy, that all carry same message of love. So this book for harmony among different religious traditions. So these 2 books, you see, souvenir, right? Oh, so keep, and perhaps when you come here in aeroplane, you say let's wait. Right? Now these 2 books, a little bit heavier. So I hope not kasoda concerto ka marda concerto namduna jigdo.
I don't have excess luggage for you.
Thank you.
Nancy, as the president of the United States Institute of Peace, will make the final remarks. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Kalden. And Your Holiness, thank you again for inviting our distinguished guests. It's been a great honor to have the Diwan here with us. Dr. Mahmoud, appreciate your being here. Thank you for 2 days of unbelievably inspiring encouragement and dialogue. We look forward to hosting you in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Institute of Peace on June 13th to continue the dialogue. Thank you again. And we do have a gift of appreciation that we would like to present. Susan Hayward, our USIP colleague.
This was made especially for you, as someone in our USIP family. Appreciation for all that you've given of yourself.
Oh, thank you.
You'll see the USIP building. You'll notice when you come in June in the shape of a dove. This is meant to be the Tibetan prayer flags.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, God.
Thank you.
And Your Holiness, I wonder if I could just ask the USIP team to stand up, who have really worked since we met last year to take this idea and make it real. And this has been a team effort.
Thank you.
of our youth peace builders, and these are the names of all of our youth as well as our delegation.
Not only is this sort of indication or symbol of friendship, but also, you see, in order to build happy humanity, peaceful century, work together. That's very important.
And Your Holiness, we also want to give you a bag that all of our participants from our program
Okay.
have.
Thank you.
Thank you.